Hey, what is up guys, GuitarRock here, welcome back to another Girls Frontline 2 video. You guys might be deciding if you want to pull Klukai or Makiatto. Both are very strong, solid choices right now in the recruitment. Now Klukai is going to be a character that specializes more in AoE scenarios, so that's where she shines, whereas Makiatto is going to be a little bit more single target focus. She shines in bosses and also in specializing in countering the enemies, right? I think both are really solid choices. Now if you are a new player starting the game today, who is going to be the better one for you? So hopefully in this video we're going to try to break down a little bit in a Klukai versus Makiatto. I'm going to make an assumption that you are just going to get one copy, or you're like a free to play low spender, right? We're comparing them at as minimal dupes as possible, hopefully. Alright, so again at V6 it's going to get more complex, but I think Klukai is better if you are just going all in. Wailing and getting 6 copies of dupes, then I think Klukai is going to be better by far. But if you're just getting one copy, V0 or V1 around there, who is the better option? Hopefully, I'll break it down for you guys. Okay, so let me show you guys a scenario where Klukai is gonna shine, and then I'm gonna show you guys a scenario where Makiatto may shine. Now, there is going to be a little bit of extra knowledge that you perhaps need to be able to have when you use Klukai. Now, the truth is, she is very strong, and you are going to be able to configure her in a way that you can take advantage of her ultimate skill. Alright, so the ultimate skill is where she shines, and I'm not sure if I'm confident enough that for the AI to be able to utilize this correctly. So this is going to be the most important skill. So basically it allows you to move in this direction, and if you're able to kill 2 enemies, for example, alright, so let's see if I come here, right? So notice I'm going to be able to hit 2 enemies right here. So if I come here and if I get rid of 2 enemies, if 2 or more targets are hit, this skill can be used again up to a maximum of 1 additional time. So sometimes the AI might not be able to use Klukai's ultimate correctly, right? The AI might just come here, maybe come here and just use this towards this situation, and then you only hit 1 enemy as per follow. So ideally, to maximize Klukai's potential, you want to always try to get rid of 2 enemies. You actually have to kill the enemy, alright? Despite what is mentioned right here. So I can show you guys right now. If I kill these 2 enemies right here, okay, so I'm going to use my ultimate skill. Boom. Now 2 enemies are dead, right? Notice now my ultimate skill cooldown resets, and I can use it all over again, right? So of course, maximum of 1 time. It is pretty cool in that sense. I can still move around and use, try to utilize this again, try to get rid of 4 enemies. But the AI might not know how to do this correctly, because if you are someone that plays on auto, alright? If you're someone that tries to just play this game on auto all the time, Klukai may not always reach her max potential in terms of the enemies that she hits. So that's one thing that you guys have to know, alright? So if you are somebody that you like to go for auto, there's a chance that maybe Makiatto is a little bit better for you. So my point is, Klukai is very position dependent, alright? So how you position her, how you move her around, that's going to be very important to take note of. And let me show you guys, right? So in a scenario where if I cannot get rid of the enemy right now, so if I come here, okay, so I'm hitting 4 enemies, but if I'm not killing 2 of the enemies, alright, it doesn't reset my ultimate skill, as you will see right here. Okay, so I managed to get rid of 1. As you can see, now you are only able to use this 1 time. So in some situation, the enemies are alive, and now you're putting yourself in a very scary position, right? Fortunately, you can run away. Alright, you can still move and run away, but it still can be risky, especially if you're moving into the enemies, charging in, and then you don't know what you're doing. The enemy is going to kill you. Alright, you got to be careful with that. Alright, using her is going to require a little bit of thinking, a little bit of strategy, a little bit of planning, and if you like that, Klukai is the character for you. Now another thing that you might want to consider if you are trying to get Klukai or over Makiatto is maybe if you have plenty of Peritia's dupes. Alright, so Peritia is going to be another character that can sort of fully utilize Klukai. If you ever intend to make a Corrosion team, Peritia, Klukai, and Match T later on, alright, if you're trying to make a Corrosion team specifically. Now I do think that Klukai is still a very strong character that you can obtain regardless if you're trying to make a Corrosion team or not, because she's a very flexible character. You can slot her everywhere, pretty much like Makiatto to a lot of extent, right? But Match T, you know, is going to be the core support for Corrosion teams. Obviously, if you have plenty of Peritia, now again, Peritia and Match T are going to be the one that basically glue the entire team together. If you have plenty of her dupes, alright, let's say you got V3, V4 of her, then definitely Klukai would be much more beneficial later on when you're trying to make a Corrosion team compared to Makiatto. Now Makiatto, you can still make an ice team with her, right? Dushevnaya is going to be the character to go for if that's going to be what you're leaning towards. But again, there's definitely going to be a little bit more nuance to that. And I feel like Corrosion team is going to pretty much be the staple meta for a little while until we obtain Springfield later on, right? So it's going to be Corrosion and Burn team for the time being. Not sure when Springfield will come. Now, in a situation such as follows, where you're fighting mostly like one main target, one main boss, this is where Klukai falls short a little bit compared to Makiatto. Now, the truth is Klukai is still going to be very strong if you can get her up, but she's going to require dupes. Alright, Klukai is going to be, when it comes against bosses, V3 is going to be where her benchmark or her threshold is going to be before she can do a lot of damage, right, comparable to bosses. So you can see right now, if I were to hit this boss, I can only utilize my ultimate skill once, alright, so I don't get that damage as much, alright, so compared to when there's plenty of enemies on the map, alright. So for situation like this, now you can see this is where Makiatto shines. Now what is Makiatto specializes in, right? Makiatto specializes in performing counter, alright? So her ultimate skill allows her to place herself in a shield. She's gonna gain Frost Barrier, alright? And then she basically activate Alert, which is a counter mode. So she's going to basically be able to counter two enemies. It doesn't matter who that is going to get hit, she will be able to counter them regardless. Now the good thing is, her counter is a preemptive counter. That means she's going to be able to hit the enemies before they hit you. Now if you get Makiatto up to V2, that means you're gonna need 2 additional copies. Then she's gonna be able to counter 3 times on that particular skill, which makes her really insane. Now let me see if I can demonstrate just that, right? So I'm gonna move to the side. So now you can see the boss is gonna try to hit me, right? Because the boss is gonna hit me, Makiatto is gonna counter first. Like I said, the counter is a preemptive counter, alright? Now you can see that if any of your allies are gonna get hit, as long as Makiatto is in the range, boom, she's gonna counter and fire the shot. And it also works with action support. Alright, so that means Swami or Cheongju, anyone that has action support will be able to do that. Notice my Makiatto counters 3 times. So that means, right, I will be able to fire 3 shots towards this boss. Right, so in a situation where there's like one boss, if we were to compare Makiatto V0, no dupes, versus Klukai V0, Makiatto is better. Alright, so there's just no comparison right there, right? Makiatto is going to be a little bit better. Ideally, her best stopping point is going to be V1. That's going to enable her, this particular skill, her first skill, you can fire this twice. Alright, notice right here, if I were to hit the enemy, I'm going to be like firing 2 shots. 1, 2. Alright, 2 shots as opposed to 1 shot, right? So Makiatto is also going to be a very strong single target character. She specializes in bossing. You can also use her in regular stages when there's a lot of enemies, but I think Klukai shines more in that particular situation. I do think that if you are just going to get 1 copy, alright, Makiatto versus Klukai, who is going to be better? Now the truth is, if you play Girls Frontline 2 during day 1, alright, you start this game playing from day 1, you are going to have this another AoE character, and that's going to be Lota. And I think a lot of people, a lot of players do have her. Now if you don't have her, that's too bad. I don't know when you can get her again. She's a very strong AoE character. The truth is, there's not much AoE characters as options for a lot of players that start playing the game today. She's one of the few exclusive event character. You obtain her. She's a very strong character that can do a pretty massive AoE, and you can spam her ultimate, right? I do think she's a very good beginner character. But if you miss out on her, if you don't have Lota, again, I have no idea when you'll be able to get her again. As far as I know, in CN, you can basically buy her from the shop, but we need to have the updated using the Dorito currency, right? I feel like for a new player's account, you probably will get slightly more value out of Klukai compared to Makiatto. And the reason is because there's not many AoE options out there, alright? If you miss out on Lota, the next best thing that you have is maybe Peritia, right? But Peritia or Vepli, again, building characters can be a little bit expensive. If you are going to build a Peritia, you might as well just get Klukai and then just get a Corrosion team. I feel like that's going to be the better route for a lot of players. Makiatto shines in single target bosses, and she's also a very flexible character that can be slot anywhere. Klukai at V0 doesn't really shine against bosses. However, alright, fortunately, Girls Frontline 2 has a lot of strong characters in its standard banner, and one of the few one is going to be Chongju. Even if you don't have Makiatto, you're probably still gonna be able to have Chongju, alright, because she is available in the standard banner. You're not missing out on much, right? If you got Chongju, you got Shakri, you can pair them together and then you can get Vector later. So you have a burn team that's consistently very, very good. Also, Tololo is a decent single target damage dealer for the time being. She's not the best, but once Springfield comes, she's also going to be a very, very strong one. So I still feel like most players should lean towards Klukai just because there's not as many AoE options compared to single target options for a lot of new players. Now again, this is going to be an advice that's strictly towards newer players that maybe, I don't know, maybe you guys are starting the game today, alright, you're looking for who is going to be the better option for your account. I still think that both Klukai and Makiatto, regardless of who you go with, probably they are not going to be a bad option. Both are really, really strong, solid character in the CN meta right now specifically. If you are looking at a general purpose, both Makiatto and Klukai are definitely top of the line, alright, very, very strong. But like I said, Chongju is an option that a lot of players can obtain. Of course, when it comes to bossing, right, Makiatto is going to be slightly higher, but Klukai is going to be a little bit lower, because if you're only obtaining just V0, that means only one copy, then Makiatto is going to be better for boss. Now, there's also going to be the conversation where, oh, why should I care about bossing? Because I can always rely on borrowing someone's one in the Gunsmoke Frontline. Alright, if you guys are not aware, the boss content in this game, you can always try to borrow these strong characters in your guild to be able to help you out with that. So going for Klukai, I still think is going to be the better option for most players. Alright, also you get a free skin, right? For her particular, later on the speed star, just make sure you gotta complete the quest accordingly. Makiatto, she has her own skins as well, but it's paid, right? So there's that as well. If you can, getting both one copy would be really, really nice. Alright, again, if you are willing to, like, I don't know if you can have enough, because they are giving out plenty of free pulls as well, right? So that's going to be something that's extremely helpful to players. If you get lucky with Klukai, can consider getting Makiatto as well. For the weapons, I wouldn't worry about it as much, right? Both Makiatto and Klukai are strong, but if you really want to get a weapon, I would say Makiatto's weapon is going to be better. The Bittersweet Caramel, that's going to be a better weapon. Klukai's weapon, you can use Planeta if you only have one copy. Alright, so that's going to be the comparison between these two. So yeah, with that being said, that's gonna be it for this particular video. You know, if you guys want to catch my live streams, I'll be streaming on Twitch as well. I'll see you guys later for the Klukai pulls. As per usual, make sure you guys subscribe, give this video a like if you guys enjoyed it, and I'll see you guys next time. Have a nice day. Goodbye.